There we go. All right, guys. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, well, I'm so excited that we're again together this week for Behind the Veil. And this is our 8th week. So we've been at this for 2 months. You would think that we'd get a little bit better at some of the
Hey, we're still on time though.
yeah, exactly. We've actually been on time every single time, even though we've had a few technical glitches. So today, our normal panel, Marcy Gutenberg and Nicole Sellers will be back on with us next week. Both of them had literally dealing with property issues today, good stuff, all good stuff, which is great, especially during this time. But they will be back with us next week when we discuss something else. But for today, I want to introduce our recurring, I want to say cast member, but one of our recurring, what would you say, mentors? Would that be a right mentor?
Sure.
Exactly. Who's going to be joining us on every future broadcast of Behind the Veil. His name is Tyler Black with Cachet Events. Tyler, say hello.
Hi, everybody.
So Tyler,
Tyler, welcome.
Welcome.
Hi,
So Tyler,
hey, baby.
Tell us a little bit about you, your company, your background, so that way, our the people that are watching us can.
Well, I come from Oklahoma. I'm born on a farm, basically,
Ooh,
and then moved
really?
to the big city. I studied art and found party decorating. I have been doing this since 1992. Own a company that we do corporate events, weddings, bar and bat mitzvahs, you name it.
How was that again?
Do what?
Bar.
I know. All she heard was bar.
I think that's what we need is a bar right now. I know I do.
God, I do too.
I keep looking for the Cabana boy around here, but I can't find him.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you get to our
Oh,
age, the Cabana boys aren't quite running towards us. Oh my goodness! By the way, just FYI, we have a couple people that just joined, and Karen wanted to remind everybody what our topic is today. Our topic today is my family and friends are going to help. So the idea behind today's topic is talking about, people try to save on their budgets and say, oh, my friends are going to help me set up. Oh, my maid of honor is going to help with centerpieces. My mother-in-law and my mother.
Whoever she is, I promise.
Exactly. Oh, they'll take care of the linens. You don't need to worry about that. We can save money on that. So that's our topic today, is to talk about that. Obviously, we'll probably go off in multiple directions. But anyway, so again, Tyler Black. And then everybody knows Brooke. Hello, Brooke.
Hello, hello, hello.
So Brooke is my assistant and event manager for my event. And by the way, I'm Keith Willard with Keith Willard Events. I'm an owner and operator of my own event company, and I've been doing this for 20 plus years, just like Tyler. And Brooke has been with me for multiple years at this point. Oh my God, I can't even believe it.
Seems like a century.
It does. It feels like a century ago. But the interesting thing is, I don't think a lot of our viewers know that Brooke has a huge history of pageants, right? So I talked about a little bit on her description about smoke and mirrors, but that's an actual thing, right?
It's a big thing. It's been a big part of my life for about 20 years now. I've been in pageants. I have judged pageants. I've dressed my drag mother. Shout out if she's watching. I think she's got 45 or 44 titles now.
So wait, so for those people
down here in Florida,
for those people that don't know what a pageant is, tell them what a pageant is. Tyler's got his own crown.
But better. You want to? We can do this if you want, because
Let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's do it, girl.
It's just the three of us today, so there's. Oh, here she goes. Here she goes. She's about to go off and grab one of her crowns. She's going to put your crown to shame. Sorry, Tyler. Oh, look at you two. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I can't even put her.
This is actually Alexis's Miss Boardwalk, I believe.
All I got is like this. I got a saucer. This is what I got. This is my crown right here. That's my crown. Oh my God, mine's out of paper. Honey, that is
I love you, but I'm not wearing this thing. It's just heavy.
That
I got one for you,
Keith. Funny.
Genuine plastic.
I love I love a plastic, top.
Oh, princess.
Oh, that is so funny. Oh my goodness. Well, there's nothing better than starting off program.
Bitch fight.
With some tomfoolery and some diamonds, honey.
Exactly.
Some plastic
With some-
tiaras.
We gotta have, one of the things that Tyler and I were just talking about before we went on live is that, this week has been so stupid depressing with all the crap that's happening in the world today. And, and obviously today is, I think they're calling it Blackout Tuesday. Is that right? Because everybody blacked out their profile picture in support of Black Lives Matter. And honestly, every life matters, but in this day and age, oh, look at you, honey. That I don't know if that can.
Not sponsored.
I don't think that counts. But along with everything else that's happening in this world, and I'm going to rein it back in here. It's more than ever, people are trying to find every possible way to save money. And and oh my God, how many times have we heard, oh, we don't need to bring in a florist. My mother is a great florist. She's gonna put together the centerpieces. Oh no, my friend is gonna, she has a whole bunch of candles, so she's gonna do it. So, I mean, give me your initial reactions to that, Tyler. I mean, you're a florist. Give me your initial reactions to that kind of like. Yes, deep sigh. Deep sigh.
Well, I'm all for everyone doing what they can to cut money and so forth. But I think what people don't realize is the biggest part of weddings and events in general is labor.
Yes.
And there's a reason why you pretty much should go for a professional side for the labor. There's a lot of pitfalls that can happen, and you lose control of what could happen on your most special day. And we've all seen some crazy stuff.
Oh my God. So, you were already talking about a pressure cooker. I mean, it's your big day. You throw in lots of parents and family that installed buttons your whole life. And today they're going to take that chance to push all those buttons. And then you throw in a bunch of alcohol. And then on top of that, you're going to say, you know what? I don't want you to get ready with hair and makeup. I need you to go put on some linen and build our centerpieces. I mean,
exactly.
What? I get it. It's a hard day. It's your day. It's a princess day. But at the end of the day, do you really think it's worth the stress and the emotional, like, horrendousness? That was a word. That would come with asking your friends and family to do that. What do you think?
Exactly. I think it's hard because this is a day you're really wanting to share with your friends and family and loved ones, and all you're doing is adding stress to their experience of the wedding as well as yours.
Right.
Because no one really realizes what goes into this. And people start going on to Etsy, they start going into these Chinese channels, and they start seeing tablecloths that are a third of the price that it would cost to rent one or something like that.
Alibaba.
But you don't realize what you're getting.
Yeah.
They come in cellophane packages.
Oh, look at you.
Folded up in little bitty, squares, and they're made out of paper thin polyester that you can see through.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that go in it. So sometimes it's okay to use that stuff, but someone's got to iron all those things. And when you're talking about a 72-inch table, that's a lot of fabric to try to iron. And then you put it on the table, and you can see, if anyone's ever wondered what a table looks like in a rental hall, lift up the tablecloth and see.
Don't encourage that.
My point is, when you get these Chinese tablecloths, you're not going to have to, because you can see right through them and it comes through. So your guests are sitting there with rough polyester on their skin, wrinkled tablecloths, and it's just not the most opportune thing. And then you stress out. And we see this a lot with chair covers too. They buy these chair covers, they're in these little cellophane bags. Someone has to take them out and try to make them look decent. And it's just a lot of extra stress. And we're not trying to encourage you not to do this, but we're trying to tell you the pitfalls of doing it.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're not, that's the thing. Put the money where it's worth it. We want you to use your budget wisely. And obviously the first thing I'm always tell people is get a planner, get a day of. Absolutely. Do not try to do stuff yourself. That day, you're going to be so busy, you don't even realize how quick the day goes by. And then you ask your mother, your mother-in-law, your bridesmaids, oh, I'm sorry, I don't want you sitting in here drinking champagne, getting your hair done. I want you out there filling up, 120 bases. People don't realize that with 175 anything, that's a lot. I mean, Brooke,
I'm one person and I'm a lot. Okay. Can you imagine? Even three of me, let alone 101.
Well, I remember, you remember, Brooke, we just did this event at the W and we had to do all those white chair covers, and I had bought the spandex and they were still in the
I was getting ready to talk about, we've covered many a chair, and let's talk about some spandex. Great minds think alike, apparently.
I'm just saying, it's not like Spanx, honey. It's hard enough to get one pair of Spanx on, but you try to do that 175 times. That's a lot.
And let me bring up the lottery of spandex chair covers. So you find all these Chinese sites that sell them, and some of them are actually quite good quality. But then there's those one or two that you get, and the threading is not locked. There is just a
what
tiny
does that mean,
bit.
by the way? Tell
in other words,
what does locked mean? Because I want to make sure that everybody understands.
Okay, so when you sew something, you need to lock in those threads, or it just comes unraveled. So whenever you see a shirt, they've gone through the machine and gone back, or whatever it takes to lock the threads. I don't know how many times this happened to me last year. Actually, we had an event that actually had 500 people, and we had to supplement our chair cover order because we couldn't get enough chair covers in that area. And I hastily ordered overnight some Chinese chair covers. They came in, they looked okay. We started putting them on the chairs, and all where you put the feet in was coming unraveled because the threads were not locked.
So basically, it was just pulling apart because there was no, they were no longer chair covers, they were chair skirts. It was a nightmare. So I was going around
a fortune spent on skirts,
stapling these.
That's how Danielle Hunter won Miss Continental in 2000.
I'm just saying. Wait, so they're all unraveling. So what did you do to fix it? Was there a way to fix it?
Well, I tried the best I could. I went to the hotel manager and I borrowed staplers, believe it or not, and we were hand stapling like paper staplers the spandex at the feet to try to get them to hold. It was just kind of a nightmare situation. So my point is, you never know what you're going to get. And especially these, I don't know how many times I've had people say, well, we're going to provide you this and this and this. And they arrive to me all in boxes. And nothing's been unwrapped. Nothing's been this. Well, it's not my job, and you're not paying me to do that service for you. And unfortunately, I'm going to help you, but it really puts a bad taste in my mouth, and it takes me away from doing what I'm supposed to do to try to fix stuff that you've tried to save maybe $50, $100 at the most by going that route. So I'm just going to encourage you to really do your due diligence and to investigate what this is going to happen. I had a very interesting situation last winter, actually. A friend of mine who works for a floral supply place. Now, she works with flowers every day, but she doesn't really cut them. She doesn't organize them. She doesn't prep them. She sells them. Right. And she sees flowers all day long. She's like, how hard could this be? So she told another friend of theirs, actually, she sold herself as a floral service. And she calls me the night before in tears. And she's like, I'm trying to make the personal flowers. I can't make this look like anything. What are you doing? Can you please help me?
Shady.
So I drove like an hour away and had to help her. And she said, I totally understand what you guys do now. I would never pretend to be a professional to do what you do. And people don't realize what really goes into this stuff. Everyone has an aunt in Florida. Everyone has an aunt, a cousin, an uncle, or twice removed, 5 times removed, someone that works for flowers. Why? Because this is where all the flowers pretty much the whole country come into is Miami. So I don't know how many times, right, Keith, you and I have had to deal with this, where the bride's cousin of a cousin is going to provide all the flowers.
Oh my God. That one statement freaks me out, because then I'm like, wait, what quality of the flowers are they? When are they coming in? Are they going to be watered between now? Are they going to be refrigerated? What kind of state are they going to come to us? Have they been preened, right? Have they been preened? I mean, all of those things are like super important. You got to make sure that they're pre-done. I mean, that takes
hydrated, treated, cut properly. A lot of times you have to take the greenery off, and people don't know this. And this is why there is a floral profession, you know?
Right.
And it's sometimes we make things look very easy, but you don't get to see all the days and days of prep in front of your wedding. So what happens is people think they can handle all this on themselves, and they totally stress themselves out. And on the day of the wedding, the mothers, the aunts, and the cousins, and the sisters are all running around trying to cut flowers and put in vases and trying to do this, and the flowers are wilting and they don't understand why. And then, you know, it's a nightmare, and they don't get to do their hair and makeup. So their wedding day experience of your most special day is kind of ruined.
It really is.
And then they're exhausted and they don't look their best. They don't feel their best. They're usually wearing flip-flops, and, you know, they're just exhausted.
They're just exhausted. By the way, I just want to say hello to Tom Weber, Ray Ortiz, Abigail. We love Abigail. Also Tyler, Kathy Fox dropped in. And by the way, Cindy is your mom?
That's my mom. Yes.
Hi, Cindy.
Oh my God. Hi, Cindy. Your mom is watching. That's awesome. I love that. Well, I mean, Brooke, we all know about, you know, spandex and Spanx and duct tape and everything.
God, I can fix everything with duct tape.
You can fix it, and, you know, and staplers, and we all know that we can make it work. But the time and effort that it takes to put all that together. I mean, how many times have I said, "Go make that pretty"? And I mean,
every time.
Yeah, every time. But, you know, as a person that's trying to go make it pretty, I mean, you sometimes spend like 4 or 5 hours just trying to unpack everything and get it in the right place. I mean, remember that event that we did at the Colonnade, where they had those cute little name crystal name badges that went on every place setting? Remember those? They were like that plastic, but then they all had to be unpacked, and then we had to figure out they weren't alphabetized. They came in all those boxes. And so Tyler, there was like, I don't know, 175 of these crystal names that came in like, I don't know, 50 different boxes. So
how excited was I?
Oh my God. So the bride hands them to me, and I love this bride. I love this bride, but she hands them to me and says, "Oh, look what we got. Isn't this cute?" Yay. If I had known that she was going to bring that to me, I would have actually brought on an extra person, because that was a lot. Right,
when you told me what the topic was, and I read up on what the topic was, the first thing that popped into my mind was, so now Keith has been explaining to you guys a lot of what I do behind the scenes. Predominantly, I do a lot of the decor.
Right.
And he's like the front man, and he handles the bride and all the craziness, and I get to make everything pretty, right? And then we're on the back end of things.
Doesn't that sound
We happen to do a transplant wedding from the Midwest, we'll say. And I think we flew everybody down, and we put them all at the W. And as he picks me up and brings me the morning of, and usually there's that phone call the night before. Just a little bit of breakdown of what's going on, and then
we talk about what we're going to do the next day.
My favorite part was when I got inside the SUV that morning. He's like, "How do you feel about doing makeup?"
Okay, so
because my friends.
Oh my God! So this is perfect, because we just said, you know,
they were so sweet though. Great wedding. Had a blast. No tea, no shade, but this is a great example.
But this is this is perfect, because she said, "Oh, my friend is a makeup artist. She's going to come down, and she's going to take care of all the bridesmaids and me, and I have another friend that does hair." And then what happened that day? The person didn't make their flight, or she got drunk, or there was something that happened that all of a sudden, like, all these people that were supposed to help were no longer there, because they weren't contracted. They weren't being paid to do their job. So they don't take it as seriously. Thank God for Brooke, because what did you say? You beat their face?
I painted both of the moms' faces. I did one mom's hair, and I painted the whole entire bridal party, but the maid of honor and the bride.
But what did you call it?
I was a busy girl.
No, you said something about you beat their face. Is that like the right term?
I will say this. And you're the one that told me they didn't have to touch up their face at all, except for their lips. The whole night. Nobody had to reapply anything.
But I love that. I've learned so many terms from her.
They were stamped, darling.
Stamped. There we go. She goes, their faces were stamped.
Stamped, honey. Yeah.
But I mean, Tyler, have you ever run into an issue where if somebody's called you last minute to like jump in because people didn't show up?
Yes, yes.
You know, friends and family?
Not because, well, we actually did a wedding in Coral Gables where the bride, some aunt or something, was an aspiring amateur cake maker.
Oh God, kill me now.
And yeah, and had never transported a cake before.
Shut up. Okay, I'm all ears now. I haven't heard this story, so I'm like.
So we're well into the wedding is going on, the cocktails going on, cocktail hours going on. Guests are arriving into the ballroom. We still have not heard nor nothing about this cake. And this poor woman missed the whole wedding. You know, this is a family member.
Right.
The cake had basically fell over in the car on the way to the hotel in traffic. And she was just a panicky mess. And she shows up. She's got cake all over. The cake's leaning off to one side. And they bring it in. They're like, what can you do with this?
You're looking at a pile of icing. Is that what you're looking at? A pile of icing?
I'm like, where are the forks? Napkins, because I'll show you real quick.
Well, we put it in the hallway and we beat it. We beat it with fresh flowers.
Oh my God!
Point you could hardly see the cake. But yeah, you just by not having someone that's a professional, there's so many little details that can go wrong.
Right.
And the bride was just freaking out through the whole thing in the beginning, through her whole ceremony, because she knew this cake had not arrived. And this was a rather large wedding at the Biltmore.
Oh God, it was at the Biltmore?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So people coming to the Biltmore already have an idea of the kind of wedding that they're walking into because of where it's located.
10-star, maybe.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is that you go to the Biltmore, you think 5-star, black tie, you know, you don't expect it to be a cake that a friend made.
Yeah, and actually it was sad because it was a pretty cake at one point, but she just didn't have the expertise to transport that cake.
Right.
And so it was wheeled into the ballroom during the reception.
On a gurney, like a dead person from the morgue.
Exactly.
Oh.
With a ton of flowers on
fire.
I just can see this field of fire.
I just felt so bad because...
Hello, my first wedding.
Biltmore...
But what?
The Biltmore actually provides people with cakes. I don't know why they went that route. So kind of a
well, it's part of their contract, you know? And they will take off like $3 or $5 or something per person if you go to an outside cake vendor. But a lot of times they don't like you touching any vendor. I mean, one of the things, and God bless the Biltmore, and I know that they have their reasons for this, but they add 15% to any vendor that you go through the Biltmore for. So if you go to a florist, the florist is going to add 15%. And the Biltmore explains it that they say that, you know, they sell in mass, and so therefore they get better pricing. And I still don't understand it. I love the Biltmore. I don't really understand that policy, but everybody does their own thing. So if you're trying to find a way to save on your budget, I mean, finding a hotel that'll allow you to bring in the vendors that you want to bring in is super important.
Huge importance.
Right?
Ask those questions. Ask about electricity. Ask about any kind of situation where the hotel's going to try to tack stuff on.
Well, and that, thank you, Jesse. Yes, I love the Biltmore. Ding.
I do too.
I'm just saying.
The best lighting ever.
It is actually. She just loves it. She did such a good job on the lighting. But what I'm saying is that instead of trying to get my friends and family to come in, find a hotel that's going to allow you to find vendors that are reputable, and typically they'll have a preferred vendor list, right, that they typically work with. But it's important to ask those questions, like, do you have a power drop, and what level do you need to be at where you need a power drop? So like a lot of times if they have a 7-piece band or a 10-piece band or a 12-piece band, they immediately include a power drop. But that was in old days. Nowadays, it takes so little electricity to run things that it may be a different standard. So it's important that you find out and learn. But again, if you have an event planner that knows that they have 20 amp circuits, and then also understands, and a lot of people are like, what the hell's 20 amp circuits? I don't know what that means. I mean, we do, because we have to deal with it all the time, and we don't want all the lights to go out.
For some reason, I have the Pelican in my head right now, because at the very top.
Yeah, the pelican.
I will say you are clever, darling. You are clever. You're so clever.
Well, yeah, because the pelican on the top floor, they don't have any outdoor lighting. They have some. They have some of those orange lights because it's on the beach and by the turtles and stuff. But you have to bring in a lot of your own lighting in order to. Yeah, so we bought some Christmas pin lights. You know, the kind that you shove outside so that it shows like your Christmas decorations.
Listen,
You know,
they
big
were
bright
LED,
light.
They lit the whole
They lit it up. But you know, that's the thing is that, you know, how do you find an option that will work for you and stays in your budget? I mean, Tyler, if somebody comes to you and says, you know, I have an August wedding, I have a limited budget, and they go, okay, you know, I've got, let's say, $4,000. Right? $4,000, let's say it's 150 people. You're going to be able to find ways to make the most out of that budget, right?
Right. Mainly because we've been in business for so long. This is what we do, and we have an inventory of things that we can put together. You may not get a huge amount of floral, but you're going to get a wow look by going to a professional. Whereas, let's say you ask cousin Jane to do something, they're going to go on Etsy, or they're going to go on some website, and they're going to go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's and try to throw something together. And then you're going to get a piece together look. Whereas, you know, a professional florist or an event planner or whatever kind of company you go to for your decorations, we're going to have, you know, tall vases and stuff that we could turn around and put just floating candles in and crystals and stuff and just give you a wow look, and then put the flowers around the edges or something. So we can fit in your budget and give you that kind of look.
But
and it doesn't look like it's just thrown together.
But you get better pricing too. I mean, that's
you definitely get better pricing. Yes, exactly.
You know,
I'm
going
to get, like, you know, unless someone works for these flower companies, there's a lot of flower. So I'm not going to name names, but there's one floral wholesaler in Miami.
Come on. You don't want to, you don't want to.
There's one in particular that's been around forever.
Let me get my little tea basket out. Hold on. You're going to serve a little tea. Go ahead.
So they've opened themselves up to the public. Okay.
Right.
Now, so people think, oh my God, why do I need a florist? I can buy the same stuff that the florist can buy, and they think that's the same pricing.
Right. It's not.
Mm-mm.
It's not.
It's marked up a good 3 to 5 times. What I can go to a reputable, a real wholesaler that's not opened up to the public, I'm going to be able to get a floral. I'm just going to use let's just use a hydrangea, for instance.
Perfect. It's a flower everybody knows. It's
everyone knows it.
Right. It's a workhorse of an arrangement. Yeah.
And I'm even going to go out of state. Let's just go out of state. Let's say I'm in Las Vegas.
Oklahoma. Okay, Las Vegas.
No, I could go to Oklahoma. But let's go to Las Vegas. I love to pick on Las Vegas.
Right.
I'll go to Las Vegas and I need to buy a hydrangea. The cheapest hydrangea I have found in their wholesalers is like $1.89 to $3 to $6 a piece.
Right. Exactly.
I can get them from my supplier for 89 cents.
Come on.
The same
that's the thing.
flower.
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, look, florals can go from $1 to $5 for a hydrangea. And I use this exact same example. So I love the fact that you use this example. And yet, a florist can get it for 89 cents. Yes, honey, your eyes look great. Stop going.
Oh, no. I'm like sitting here and I'm like, last week I literally ripped down the green screen to give myself an excuse to go smoke a cigarette. So I just texted my assistant. I was like, sneak in the ashtray, sneak in the cigarettes. I'll figure this out. Hey, Keith, hold on.
So,
go ahead. I think Keith's point is we're not greedy. We're not going to try to. So I pass that on. Keith knows that, like, people come to me because I really give them a lot of look for their money, because I pass on the savings. I'm not a greedy, kind of person.
Me too.
But I have that ability because I have those sources to buy that. Whereas your cousin or whatnot is not going to have that same source or the ability. And honestly, the flower cost and stuff is not what designates what a centerpiece costs. It's the amount of labor. And when we talk about the amount of labor, we're talking about either delivery or pickup of those flowers from the source. Then we're talking about unboxing, cutting, trimming, cleaning, hydrating, putting chemicals into those flowers so that they're properly hydrated so they don't die during your event.
Yup.
So there's a lot.
I think there's more like prep and delivery and teardown more involved than the actual making of the centerpiece itself.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, look at Brooke right now. You know how much time and effort and makeup and stamping and chemicals it took to get her to prop up for this house?
That's just vegan, honey. Everything on my face is vegan. How dare you? My cigarettes are organic.
Yes, they're American Indian.
How
yes,
dare you?
How dare you?
I got spirit. Yes, I do. I got spirit. How about you?
Well, you know, they do say hydrangea are the alcoholics of the flower world. So, you know.
Yeah. But see, people don't realize what has to be done. A rose is a very, very tricky flower to deal with. And people, how many times have we gone to weddings that we weren't involved with, and we look at the centerpiece and we see some sad little roses.
Oh, it's so sad.
Leaning down, and this is even from some florists sometimes because they don't know how to properly use them, and they're trying to fit all these flowers into a little piece of foam that is supposed to hydrate all these flowers. You need to know what you're doing. And
Sorry.
You know.
Oh, the baby wants to say hi.
So my point through all that is really you're taking a big risk on your most special day. Your pictures are going to last forever with a wilted daisy or a wilted rose or whatever it may be. Your guests have looked at it and say, oh, well, I guess they went to Whole Foods and bought some gladiolas,
please,
whatever.
You know, that's the problem again, is that we've all done parties for small groups. When you're talking about a party for 10 or 20 people, absolutely. If you want your cousin to help you with that 10 or 20 person event, 100% do it, because they want to be able to give back. And that's the other thing. I feel people fall into this trap that they want to do something great for the wedding couple because they want to be involved.
Hold your girlfriend's hair while she's puking at the bachelorette party the night before. Be that kind of a good Judy. Be that good help.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Give the flowers to Tyler and to the professionals, honey. I mean, I know that they mean well, but like, yeah, but child.
Well, and a lot of people will say, you know, when they come in and ask me to work on their event, you know, a lot of times they think that my job is to put together centerpieces. Oh, we're going to have all the pieces there for you. We just need you to place them out. You know, a lot of my job and a lot of Brooke's job is managing personalities. A big part of our day is managing personalities to make sure people feel like they're involved and that they're a part of it. And again, if you don't have a cousin that, you know, says, oh, I'll do centerpieces, but then she's in the corner of the room, you want to make sure you go over and say hi to her and make sure she's doing well. But, and the other part of just managing personalities
I'm in the back trying to kick her.
Right, exactly. And the other part of the just managing personalities, but the other part of that is managing the vendors, managing the hotel, ensuring that the timeline is going well, making sure that your photographer is where they're supposed to be, making sure that all the little incidental stuff that you want to get on, you know, and to be able to have a team in place.
Communication
that makes
is key.
Communication is everything. It's worth the extra money in order to ensure that you don't have to think about it. I always say people hire me so that way they can actually be in the moment. You know, they're there with their girls. They don't have to think, oh God, I hope that cake is fine in the back seat of the Pinto that's coming over. You know, we don't want that. You don't want that. You right? I mean, I think
how about my nephew is an aspiring DJ.
Oh my God.
Yeah, how many times have we seen this? So you get this young kid who comes into a wedding party thinking that, you know, oh, I'm a DJ, I can mix it up. And then you're getting rap and all this stuff that the kids are into, and you've got a room full of, you know, 30 plus older people, let's just keep it young, right, who are sitting there going, what the heck? And you cannot leave the most important details. And I think for me, the most important details to a wedding are lighting, music, and food. The rest of it can kind of fall into place. I hate to say, even though I'm a florist, I can have the most beautiful flowers in the world, but if I let some DJ come in and do the lighting and they don't know how to light, and they bring in 4 little lights that they got from Amazon for $25, and they think they're going to light this room, and then the flowers have no lights. They put the wrong colors, so then the people look weird, or the food looks unedible because you're putting green hues or red hues or whatever.
Look like you're in outer space.
Right? Or you feel everybody's, has liver failure. By the way, Meredith, says she wants her last name to be Stoner. she also made a comment that Little Peep playing as a first dance. So yeah, right? Yeah. Little Peep as a first dance.
So you got to be careful because these are the things that will just destroy a wedding. Keith, the three of us did a wedding together where we had this DJ situation. And
they flew in, that was supposed to be so incredible.
So amazing. And then their mics didn't work.
Oh, and his speakers were all like...
Yeah, and it was a total nightmare. And then of course the family's not happy, even though everyone in that family was involved in that wedding, if I remember correctly. Every aunt, every cousin, everybody was involved in that wedding. And I have never seen so many, when it all came together, it just didn't come together because there was just too many opinions, too much stuff going on. And then the one things that none of us had any control over, which was the DJ, ruined the wedding.
Yeah.
And then the family comes to us and says,
it was your fault.
Like,
no, they didn't say
y'all didn't fix this. Y'all couldn't make this happen. Can we get a refund? And we're like, you did this yourself. And
actually they never actually asked me for a refund. And they were trying to recoup some of the losses because it did not come off well because of the DJ. And I explained over and over to them. I said, look, I told you from the very beginning, if I hire the vendor and I give you the stamp of approval on it, then I will take responsibility for that. But the moment you told me that it's a friend of a friend that wants to come in, I said from the very beginning, do not do this. Do not do this. It is going to kill your wedding. And oh my God, that couldn't have been. I mean, at one point, there were so many people standing in line to give this DJ suggestions. I thought he was the buffet.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, there was just like 10 people in line, all trying to give him songs to play, so people would start dancing.
And this was no little cheap wedding in a pavilion. This was a 5-star hotel.
Yeah, 5-star hotel. What do we had? 250 guests.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And this was the one thing they should not have cheaped out on. I mean, they spent the money to go to the hotel. They had the limousines. They had the $5,000-$6,000 dress. They had the $200 centerpieces. They had everything they needed. Beautiful food. The food was amazing. And then they had a DJ that they didn't really know. It was a friend of a friend or something, or a family member that come in and ruin the whole party for everyone. So I just encourage you to, if you're going to use a family member, know what they're capable of. Not just aspiring. Like, you don't need an aspiring cake decorator. You don't need an aspiring florist. Someone that likes to do this as a hobby. This is your most important moment. And the $50 to $100
your special day like home economics, honey, in 9th grade.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Tyler. I'm just
no, but the thing, and what was really killer about this wedding, and this is one of the things that I tell people all the time about like current circumstances. This is very similar to that. It was right after a hurricane, and they were originally at a different hotel, and that hotel had been shut down because of damage due to the hurricane, and we had to relocate the entire wedding in 2 weeks.
This was before
and redesign it. And we redesigned the wedding.
And it was amazing. And the room looked incredible. Oh my God. We were so proud of ourselves. Even at the ceremony, we were just so excited the fact that it was beautiful. It was well run. People were doing a great job. I mean, Tyler did an amazing birchwood backdrop for the ceremony in the stone pavilion area. Oh my God. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. And considering that the whole thing had to be changed in 2 weeks, and then to have the DJ, I mean, it just killed me. Right?
Well, it hurt us, but it really hurt that family, the family the most. They're all gathered there. They're miserable because they're all trying to figure out how to fix this music, how to hear the music. They couldn't even do their speeches because the microphones didn't work, from what I understood. So you really run the risk when you do not hire professionals.
Oh my God.
I think that's our point.
I think that's our point. The whole show has been about that. But Tiffany, by the way, says she loves when someone says their uncle is photographing the wedding because he has a nice camera.
Oh, a nice camera.
I love that. It's like, we have a friend that does photography. I'm like, You need to absolutely contract them. Do not hire friends for anything. I get it. You want to, a lot of times people fall under pressure also because somebody offers their services and they said, oh, I do wedding photography. I'd love to photograph your wedding as my present to you. And then you feel a little pressure because you're like, oh crap, he wants to do this nice thing. What the good response is, we really just want you to enjoy the wedding. And so we've actually we have a photographer already. Even if you don't, just tell him you do. Because, and the same thing with florists, same thing with any of those things. Say that you actually already have it done. So that way you can let them off the hook and you can continue trying to plan your wedding. There are great vendors out there that will fit your budget. And we've talked about this on every single show that we've done over the last 8 weeks, is be honest about your budget right up front. Most vendors in South Florida, and I say reputable vendors, I'm not going to say all vendors, most vendors that have been doing this for a while are going to be super honest with you about their pricing. They're going to tell you exactly where they need to be as far as, like, let's talk about photography. Like if you go to Munoz, who are amazing, and they have a very specific style, which is fantastic. It's very photogenic, like it's magazine cover kind of stuff, but they are in high demand. So you're going to pay for that high demand. They're going to cost you a lot, but you can get that same quality with some other photographers, right, that are going to be less cost. Or you can find somebody like, who am I thinking of? Brooke, or Erica. Who,
yes.
Erica Arango.
Erica is amazing.
She's amazing with Light Sky Photography. She just really started her business like four years ago at this point. So her pricing
push her into that.
Right. I know I keep pushing her to raise her prices. I shouldn't do that. But she's slowly raised her prices. But when she first started, her first couple of years, when we knew she was amazing, I was like, oh my God, her pricing was really inexpensive. But I'm going back to get some professionals in your life. I mean, Tyler, how many people do you know off the bat? Like if somebody said to you, like you had a client that said, I'm really looking for a DJ. Do you know any DJs?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And I mean, I know what DJs are good for. I know which DJ would be good for a birthday party. I know which DJ would be good for a wedding. I know which DJ, this is the advantage of coming to someone like Keith or myself or Brooke, because we work with this every weekend, every week, all year long. So we see the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Oh God,
so that is the benefit of hiring a wedding planner per se. And there's all kinds of levels on wedding planners. Keith can come in and manage your wedding for the day, or he can plan the whole thing with you. Either way, you're going to get that professional advice and know that anything that someone like Keith, if Keith's going to recommend a florist to you, he's vetted me. He has looked at my work. He started me off with some smaller weddings that weren't so risky. Then he gave me a chance on some really big ones, and we pulled it off. I think Keith is pretty confident with me now. I think
Keith does that with Tyler. I tell everybody.
So
exactly.
But he's that way with everyone. I'm assuming, and I'm the same way. So I know I've been in this business a long time. Any professional that does this kind of work, you should depend on them a lot more, for not just your sister because she had a wedding 5 years ago and all of a sudden she's a professional wedding planner.
Oh my God.
Or your Aunt Sylvia because, back in 1952, her wedding was amazing. Those little mint trays and that cake cutting and those little peanuts in the bowl, that was the reception of the century.
Oh, delicious.
Things are so
peanuts in a bowl.
Well, listen, I have a story to tell you both, but before I do that, I want you to both of you do one thing at the same time for me.
What?
Look over there. All right, so.
Oh, you're smoking. So, okay. By the way,
it's tacky to do on here, right? All right, so I'm gonna give you a little taste of this.
Tell me.
Topic. So, I don't want to say any names, but my baby brother.
Okay.
Was getting married, and I was very good Judy's with his soon-to-be wife at the time.
Right.
And I offered to do her hair and her makeup for her for free as a wedding gift.
Oh, see, like, you walked right into that trap.
And mind you, this is like from one state, I'm driving to another state. Like this is
Oh, see, you know better.
So here's the gig. Here's the tea on this, right?
Okay.
She called me 45 minutes before she was supposed to walk down. Actually, my brother called me.
Right.
45 minutes about before she was supposed to walk down the aisle. And she was in tears and she was so upset. I'm like, what happened? She's like, my hair looks like shit.
Did you do her hair?
I whipped up her hair and I painted her mug and beat her mug for filth and sent her down the aisle looking amazing. Amazing. And God, this is, I want to say almost 20 years ago. It's been a minute. So now I'm telling my age, but it was, don't kill me, Becky.
I know, I was about to say.
But yeah, you know, it's not like this wasn't a big, like, this is like a top secret story. The whole, it's out there. It's been a while, but
I mean,
that's just like, you know, but there are people that actually can pull through for you.
But do you really want to take that chance on your wedding day?
But maybe I don't think it was I don't know if it was a question of my ability or my skill at that point, because I had been doing hair and makeup for so long. But what it came down to was the fact that I saved the day.
Well, yeah.
My feelings were hurt over it, believe it or not. But just saying.
Why were your feelings?
It's not the first time it's happened. It's not the first.
I'm just trying to figure out.
Either I've painted and done hair for.
I know, but I'm just saying, if you beat her, if you did her a great job, why would you feel bad about it? I don't understand that.
No, my feelings were hurt because I felt like, for whatever reason, I don't know if there was, I can't remember if there was a disagreement, we were fighting, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Where I was not doing her hair. I believe I'm still painting her face though. I'm pretty sure there was no question of my makeup skills. So maybe it was hair or something, but either way, I ended up saving the day. So
by the way,
coming to the whole, my cousins, sisters, aunts, uncles, baby, you know.
Well, so here's the thing. So one of the things Tiffany just brought up, and this is a great segue, because you just talked about, you know, doing this for 20 years, Brooke. You know, you're not paying us for the 30 minutes that takes us to do it. You're paying us for the 30 years that allows us to get it done in 30 minutes. I mean, what may take you 4 hours or 6 hours may take me only 10 minutes. But that's because I have the contact.
Do you know what I said? This is so me, Keith. You know, Tyler, you know me well too. My stepmother at the time, was my former stepmother, thanked me so very much, and I just rolled my eyes and looked at my stepmother at the time, who is still currently my stepmother. Love her to pieces. I was like, tell her to just write me a check.
Yeah. Well,
but that was behind that gig. But I was so proud. She looked so beautiful. Like it was amazing. It really was. But it was just like, But that's my little story. One of my two.
I don't think that any of us are saying you can't have a DIY. Do it yourself.
But make sure the person needs to show up. Just like when we a while ago we talked about our transplant wedding at the W. Yeah. To where, thank God, I had the skill and the talent to know how to actually to do it, because what would they have done? They probably would have done each other. I don't know. Half of them have never even worn makeup before.
Did you say they were going to do each other?
Well, I don't know what they would have. I would assume maybe try. I don't know.
I was like,
there was two of them that never really wore makeup at all.
That's true.
I mean, you saw the pictures, you saw the photographs. I mean.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, is that we're not saying that you can't do a DIY, and 95% of the weddings.
Make sure they know what they're doing, and make sure they show. But my story is make sure they show up.
Well, and 95% of the weddings in South Florida don't have a DJ. They don't have a budget more than $10,000. Most weddings have, a fairly reasonable budget when it comes to an overall wedding. So in those cases, absolutely. But I'm going to tell you right now, don't try to over-invite people. If you need to figure out...
I guess another topic we need to throw out there and have a segment on too is, if you're going to cut corners, do smoke and mirrors. I'm the queen of that shit.
No, but reduce the number of people.
Where do you cut your budget at, and where can you get away with spending less over here in this department versus this is, like Tyler said, your lighting, your DJ. Come on, if I got you wasted, you're having a great party, the music's pumping, the lights are working, honey, I can throw a Big Mac on your silver platter, and you're going to be just fine.
But that's what I'm saying, is that I think people don't really understand that, you don't have to invite the second cousin, third cousin. If you're looking to really control your budget, control it with the number of people at the end of the day. Because a lot of times in 10 years, half the people that came to your wedding, you're going to be like, why the hell did we bring them? Why were they even
they
there?
felt obligated. They didn't want to hurt Judy's feelings. Honestly, right. I did it with mine too. I was like, oh my God, I can only afford this much. I can only have this many. Da, 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 da. I know what that feels like. It's not the greatest feeling in the world. It kind of does suck. Yeah, However, I didn't have a wedding planner. I had to do everything myself.
But honestly, that's reality. But Brooke, that's reality in this day and age. I think it's, and especially now.
And it was a shit show, honey. I tell you what, we'll have to do that one time because I'm telling you what, the town talked about that shit show for 6 months.
Well, and that's the thing is, especially now that we're talking about, coronavirus and controlling our budgets and figuring out what to do, more than ever, we're going to see the number of people that are involved in the event reduce. This is a great opportunity to reduce those numbers and create some wow moments. If another thing is, like, if you invite 300 people to your wedding, it's much harder to make a personal impact on 300 people than it is on 50 people or 90 people or 100 people. I mean, Tyler, think about this. If you had a budget of, let's say, $6,000, and for 300 versus 100, that's dramatic, right? For you?
Right. Yes, very.
What you could give people for
exactly. And like, how do I make that dandelions look pretty?
Dandelions.
You use it as a salad.
Yeah, you use dandelions as a salad. It goes on that. But you know what I mean? I think that most people get too caught up in the idea that they have to invite everybody, and that your wedding has to be better than anybody else's. It's gonna be better than.
That's every bride's dream. It is.
Right, but that it's gonna be better than everybody else's because it's yours, not out. What is that? It's ours, not yours, Brooke. The two people that we always watch, because it's ours, not yours, right?
Oh, Trixie and Katya.
Yeah, I was about to say. So that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying.
It's actually not yours.
Right. Yeah. It's actually, and that's the thing. I think that a lot of times we get way too caught up in the idea. I think that weddings really about our customer service, making sure people feel like they are wanted and needed at the event, and that people are there to look after them.
Yeah.
We say what we do, honestly, between the two of us, because, and I can say this with, I've done over 50 events with you.
Yeah.
We're talking 5 stars and stuff. Like, it's most of it. And what I love about our dynamic is you have the brains and you have the passion, and I have the heart.
And the looks.
And you have the heart too, but mine's a little bit bigger than yours sometimes.
You
just have you are the king of patience.
Oh my God.
Where like Boxing Brooke Logan was a nickname I got. Chelsea Del Rey, when you get in here, Queen of Mean, but I was given 20 some years ago.
so wait, well, Tyler was.
But it matters because we care. That's
yes.
the message I'm trying to give. It's we care.
We do.
And it's not so much about the dollar with us. There's a lot of people, and I learned this. Well, I think you learned this from me about me. Yeah. And this comes back to it. I'll spill a little bit, so you can air some stuff out about kickback stuff that I didn't know that actually really. I had an idea about just how business works in general, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, when Keith told me if I get a kickback or a discount, I give that to my bride, my party. I don't pocket that.
Oh, I think that's actually a really important point to point out. Is that a good vendor?
We sit there and we'll take that extra money and we'll upgrade champagne or we'll upgrade something. You know what I'm saying? We don't put that in our pockets. We upgrade your wedding with that if we get a discount, or it goes in your pocket.
So, Brooke,
that matters.
So, by the way, Tyler had something that he wanted to say. So I just want to make sure that he was able to get and talk about it. So what were you about to say, Tyler?
Sorry about that.
She's been drinking wine the whole time.
I mean, like, listen. There's only 3 of us. I gotta drink for the other
she's
like,
I'm gonna make the show, the Brooke Stoner show.
Exactly. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I told
Keith last week I'm taking over.
But Tyler,
he's like, you're fired.
So Tyler, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like you and I have been talking about the one way that we can make an impact on like the budgets and stuff. Like you've just brought up, you can invite less people, but we can invite them via live streaming. So like our company is creating
yes, please.
An arm of our company that we are doing professional live streaming. We're going to have multi-camera, like 4 camera angles where we live stream the wedding. So now you can invite your nearest and dearest, and then you can live stream it. Well, it's not going to cost you any more per se, because you usually have a video service. Well, at the end of this, all this live feed is then turned into a video and you're given to it. So this is a great way, a good excuse to not have to invite anyone. You can invite them to the virtual, live experience of the wedding. You can't sit with
us, Becky.
Well, no, but what I love about this, Tyler, and when you were telling me about this, is that most people want a videographer at their wedding. This is a great way to combine the two. You're going to get multiple angles from the wedding that can then be turned into your wedding video. And I think I love the idea of merging those two, so that way you're allowed to, you can reach out to people that might not be able to come to the wedding, due to cost, due to travel, due to pandemic, and you still get an amazing wedding video at the end of it.
Yeah. So there are options out there. We can cut corners, but also that's the thing, like professionals are working ways that we can give you the most bang for your buck, the most experience for everyone that you want to, have the experience of your day. So we have those things. And that's another thing. You don't want just, cousin Joe that can come in with their cell phone and just live stream. Anyone can do a Zoom thing of the wedding.
Yep.
But you're not going to get the experience of having, a close up of the rings being, exchanged, the breaking of the glass, the cutting of the cake, all these things. So you're going to get all this, and people will not feel so slighted because they weren't invited. They can actually watch this from the comfort and safety of their home. And let's face it, we have a lot of people that don't feel safe. I was at a meeting earlier today, and we were talking about, I'm the entertainment director for my condominium. And we were trying to figure out what we're going to do the rest of the summer. And we just cannot get people to feel comfortable, even with social distancing, to come out and have an event. So we were talking about different ways that we can get people involved and feel like they're still part of the community. Well, you can take those ideas and also, use them with your weddings, your bar mitzvahs, even corporate parties. There are ways that professionals can go in and do it, and you don't have the stress. And yet everyone feels like they're not being slighted. They're still being involved. Your budget is healthy because you did not have to invite 200 people.
Yeah.
So we're just offering you
the option too, because you can feel the temperature on who would feel more comfortable staying home versus who actually wants to attend. We spoke about this last week too. Now, weddings are supposed to be a big party, but the core of that is intimacy, and it's that special day. So to incorporate all of that, you get to actually have, and I think that honestly for me, I love it and I hate it, but it's like, okay, this is really going to push me, and I love a good challenge because I'm not stagnant in my work. I'm good at what I do, but it's a repeat of a different creativity that I've already done 50 times. Correct, Keith?
Yeah. So here's the thing: is that we need to go ahead and wrap it up. We're towards the end of our hour. I think the important pieces here is, don't have your friends and family be a part of it, because let them enjoy the wedding just as much. Right? If you need ways to control your budget, find a professional that's going to be able to help you figure out the right direction, the right people to go to. A good event planner is going to have a range of people that know everybody that can go up for a small budget to a large budget, depending on where they are as far as their capabilities, etc. And at the end of the day, remember that a wedding is about you two celebrating your joy with other people. If you start with that, everything else is going to be successful. If you're there to share your joy with other people, you're going to do it. It's going to happen. Don't get too stressed out about, trying to be better than everybody else. Your love already is, because it's yours and not ours.
Exactly. Well said.
So, by the way, guys, so thank you very much for being a part of this week's Behind the Veil. Thank you, Tyler Black. Yay!
Yeah, we love you, Tyler.
And I can't wait to see you next Tuesday. Brooke, always a
But
party.
I always get final thoughts, so.
There you go. Here you go.
Here's final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Do you remember that one time when Steve Harvey accidentally said Columbia?
Oh my God, you and your stuff. All right, my loves.
That's all I have.
I love it. I love you all. So next week we will be back. Next week we'll have Tyler back with us. As always, Brooke is going to be back with us. Nicole Sellers with CLE Events, and Marcy Gutenberg with An Affair to Remember, who's our invitation specialist. So the full panel will be back next Tuesday. Every Tuesday at 2, you'll find us right here. Have a great day, guys. We love you,
Marcy and Nicole.
Everyone stay safe.
Don't worry.
Stay safe. Stay well.
Yeah, stay safe.
Bye, boys.
Stay inside.
Bye.
Don't get it on you.